Bucks. Great back and forth battle between KD and Giannis. Giannis getting the best of the two. Finished with a season high 49 points last night. Not to be outdone, Kevin Durant leading the way for Brooklyn with 42 points last night. And he had a shot to win at the end, but it just missed the mark. Bucks, though, get the win. Giannis, though, gets the last word on meeting these Nets again down the road. Take a listen.
We play them again in 2 days, and as you say, it's a team that we're going to see in the playoffs if we want to go to the finals. But we got to lock in, we got to come ready on whenever we play them, and hopefully we can get a win then.
All right, we got Chris Broussard with us this morning. Broussard, good morning. Hope you had a nice weekend. Was this game, you think, a sign of things to come in the postseason?
Well, look, with all due respect to the Milwaukee Bucks, who I do think have improved, they're better than they were last year and the year before that, even though their record isn't as good. No, it wasn't a sign of things to come if you're asking, will they beat Brooklyn in the playoffs? It'll be a tough series. Milwaukee is really good. They get after it defensively. Obviously, Giannis is playing at a high level, but they won't beat a healthy Brooklyn Nets team. Several things happened yesterday that aren't likely to happen if they meet in the postseason. Number one, Giannis turned into Steph Curry from three. All right, he hit 4 3-pointers. That was a season high. He's only hit 3 3-pointers twice this year. He's only shot 50% from three on 8 or more attempts 3 times in his 8-year career, one of which happened to be yesterday. So he's not likely to have a game, or certainly not 2, like that if they meet in the playoffs. So if he doesn't go bananas from 3 yesterday, they lose that game, as well as Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and their other players played. And then there's a guy named James Harden, who presumably will be back. And he is the key. As great as Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are, James Harden's the key. The offense runs much better with Harden at the helm. Kyrie can move over to the 2, where he's a better player as just a flat-out scorer than he is running the offense. So, no, a healthy Brooklyn doesn't have anything to worry about with Milwaukee, though it'll be a tough series. And yesterday was just what the doctor ordered for the Nets, because Milwaukee got after them. They're hard-nosed. They're tough. No, it was. Because the Nets have not been pushed like that this season. They have not. Things have not been made tough on them. And that, fine. You got to beat good teams, Nick. Well, you want to skate through the playoffs? I mean, so first of all, it'll play out. We'll see who gets the number 1 seed. But if it doesn't, they're not scared of Milwaukee.
All right. Philly's going to get the number 1 seed. We now know that. Philly, the rest of the way, Chicago, Houston, New Orleans, Detroit, Indy, Miami, Orlando. That's their final 8. So what yesterday guaranteed was that Philly's going to be the 1 seed. And what that guarantees is that Brooklyn's going to have to play this series in round 2. And whether or not Milwaukee wins round 2 or not, I do think Milwaukee can win round 2. I keep hearing about this healthy Brooklyn Nets team. It's an idea in the ephemeral, almost stratosphere, but I've never quite actually felt it or tasted it or touched it. Maybe one day it'll happen. It would be very convenient for them if it happens right when the playoffs start, and we haven't seen it all year, but we'll see. But it is very, very difficult to win back-to-back brutal playoff rounds. It is damn near impossible to win 3 straight brutal playoff rounds. And as the 2 seed or the 3 seed in the East, by the way, that's what you're signing up for. Because it's Brooklyn, Milwaukee, then it's Philly, and then I'll say it's the Lakers. I know at this point, Broussard probably will talk about the Lakers later, has them down as like 5th or 6th best likelihood to come out of the West, but that's another discussion. But I do think the analysis on Giannis is interesting, because Giannis, let's take his 4 threes away. And as is often the case, if the best player on a team plays worse, they would have lost a game they won. Yeah, and Brooklyn holds him to 37 points. If he goes 0 for 8, he only hangs 37 on him. And the problem for the Nets all year is it's one thing to say with Giannis, build a wall. But if all your personnel is made of sticks, can't build that wall.
Which they
don't have the bricks or the masonry necessary. Okay, listen. I've just been consistent on this. I've been consistent on this. How is
but there's more to
going
it.
to stop Giannis from doing that?
Well, let's unpack it, because what Chris said is right. This is not sustainable for Giannis to go out there and give that effort on both ends of the court. It's not sustainable. Nick, he can't do it himself. For them to win a series against the Nets, he has to score 50 every night. If he scores anything,
no, he doesn't.
If he scores less than that, they don't win. Yes, they do. It's not sustainable.
KD's always going to score
about
42.
The defensive side.
So KD's hold on. KD's always going to score 42.
You got three guys. You got three guys that can give you 25 points a night. That's what you have. Yes, in their small sample size of them playing on the court, being on the court together 7 games, that's what they were averaging. A small sample size, but that's what we're seeing. That's what the numbers telling us. But here's the deal. On the defensive side, they didn't play any defense when talking about scheme. When they played Philly, what did they do against Embiid? They showed their cards. The Nets, Nash, what they did, they doubled Embiid at the perimeter. They played defense.
Right?
Last night, they played man-to-man. They didn't even build the wall. Everybody has the book on Giannis, how to stop Giannis. Everybody knows that. They didn't do that last night. They kept guys one-on-one and let Giannis beat them. That's what they did. So it'll be interesting to see what happens 2 days from now when they play again, what they're going to do on the defensive side. But this is not sustainable. Here's the book on Giannis and why he always folds in the playoffs. Last 4 postseasons, when he plays less than 34 minutes, they're 13-0. When he plays more than 34 minutes, they're 7-17. It's not sustainable, Wilds.
But, Brandon, you think that Giannis is not going to be built for the playoffs just endurance-wise?
He hasn't been built for the playoffs the last 4 postseasons. I gave you the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Nick's a big fan of numbers. That's last year. That's what. Remember, Nick? That's all we were talking about in the bubble. You were like, Bud, why won't Bud play him more? Why won't Bud play him more? He can't do it.
Yeah, and which is why. Right. Well. No, okay, so Bud made a huge mistake last year, which is why this year he is playing more minutes. I would argue that number's wildly misleading, the 13-0 playing under 34 minutes, because the Bucks the last 2 years have been the 1 seed, so in the first round they're playing Orlando or some terrible team. Giannis plays 27 minutes through 3 quarters. They're up by 28 points, and doesn't play in the 4th. Understandably, the Bucks and Budenholzer's postseason resume is not good. But this is a different team. They added Drew Holiday, who put Kyrie Irving in jail last night, and they added PJ Tucker at the deadline, who is incredibly valuable for them. But we can't say Giannis isn't going to score 49, but KD's always going to get his 42. And we can't act like when you insert Harden that doesn't then take some shots away from either Durant or Kyrie. But the problem for the Nets last night, Broussard, what do you mean stop?